these decisions, these directives. Tell us why you cut one of the trash pickups. Well, because this is going to cost $12 more a month per resident. Okay, well then tell us the truth. Tell us that, yeah, there are some members of the board of directors that do not like the chief of police. I firmly believe that, and I'm being absolutely 100% honest. But then also, tell us that you didn't get notified by VDOT to close down the back gate. Tell us that you really didn't call VDOT and say, hey, is it okay if we use our own roadway and use, oh, by the way, Decatur Drive that our taxes pay money to use? Tell us the truth. You know, I mean, goodness, tell us why. Tell us why that you're clamping down on the chief so she can't collect pet dogs. For crying out loud. Put some spare cages around. You've got to do a better job. Don't touch our greatest asset in this community, and that's Chief Harm.
Cavalier here? Ms. Cavalier here? Okay, director's comments. Who wants to go first?
I welcome the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, a lot of the things that we have heard over the last few weeks. Oh, come on.
I can't hear
Can you hear me back there?
Yes.
Sort of.
Here's mine.
Okay.
No.
Hello? Doesn't work. Sorry. All right. I have listened. Try it again. Yeah, I did. Hello. It doesn't work.
George will fix it. Someone else will fix it.
Last time, folks. I'm sorry. This button? The one that I've been pushing?
Right, and try it one more time, one word.
Hello. Are we done with the microphone, folks? Thank you. First of all, this is going to be a little bit lengthy, my response to so many issues that were brought up tonight. And so I hope you'll bear with me. I certainly understand that people, when they do not have an official place to go to for information that is current, will listen to any information they hear. Unfortunately, the people who used to go to shock radio for amusement now go to Facebook. And I'm afraid a lot of the things that I hear goes on Facebook are innuendo, perhaps not kind-hearted in intention, sometimes taken out of context, and sometimes just plain falsehoods.
We're trying to get information out.
I am trying to explain to you that, number one, never have we talked about doing away with the police department. We talked about that at the work session last week that some of you were in attendance at. And you didn't believe us. So I have suggested that one of the things we really need is to get out of the dinosaur age and have a way to communicate with residents so that residents can go to a website for official information from the board of directors. That the website is kept current, that it's updated regularly, and that we have an employee who takes responsibility for getting that information out in a timely manner. It's not your fault that you don't have information. I don't blame you for going to the only sources that you hear, which are the people you talk to, or the people that have comments on some of the social media, okay? I heard, let's see, I heard you can't trust us. Sometimes I wonder who I can trust. And that includes some of you out there that I've had lengthy conversations with. It also includes maybe some people on the board of directors who've decided to take it upon themselves to stir up trouble in the community and to incite this discontent that exists. You people know who you are.
That right
Can-
there is part of the problem.
As part of the problem, one person asked, what is our plan for communication to the community? We need to have a plan, and we need to implement it soon. And I'm hoping that the board tonight, and I make a motion to authorize the general manager to get bids on getting us a real live, functioning, capable, current, state-of-the-art, current to the moment web page that we will be able to get that information out to you quickly and in a method that's easy for you to access, is user-friendly. Okay? We can do that tonight. It's been dragging a long time with a lot of these things. Okay? I've heard people make complaints. Thank you. I've heard people make complaints that we're not transparent. I'm sorry, folks, but I've been in the harbor a long time, and this has never been more transparent than what it is currently. Is it as transparent as we would like it? No, but we are making considerable improvements. I've heard complaints that we are not following the bylaws. Some people even said we're breaking civil and criminal laws. To that I simply ask, please, if you know of this, make a list. Give me the times, the dates, the places, and who was involved. And I will personally make sure that we find out if there's any truth to that or not. Okay? If it means for us to go to an outside agency, we will get to the bottom of this if there's any credibility to it. Okay? There's a lot of things you don't know about this community. You hear information that people want you to hear, but you may not hear information that's complete. There is a proposal to do something with how we treat the police department tonight. And I think it's a limiting proposal. We will get to discuss that. I think it's a proposal designed for a boogeyman that doesn't exist. There are no plans to do away with the police department. I think everybody in this room knows that Chief Harmon has done a fabulous job with public relations in this community. I think also that when any employee has concerns, they should bring it to the general manager. Likewise, the general manager has the right and authority to deal with every employee that we have. It is his responsibility to make sure that policies and procedures are followed. It's also his requirement, simply out of good taste, but also because of regulations, to protect the identities of people who may be under consideration for some deed, either real or purported, but it must be evaluated. And it shouldn't be evaluated on the internet, in my humble opinion. I wish the people in here would have called me. Some of them did, and God bless you for it. I heard somebody say, well, I spoke with 4 different people on the board and I got 4 different responses. Well, guess what? Pick up the phone, call any of your congressmen on any issue, and you will get a different response from every one of them because they're giving them your opinion. But let me let you understand that this board only can take action on anything when we vote in session and have at least a minimum of 4 people in agreement, preferably all 7. So if my opinion is that we should cut all the trees down and install flowers, that's my opinion. If you don't hear it coming from the board, it's not real. Okay? Now I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I've heard a lot of things out tonight that aren't true. I've heard, first of all, members of the ACC and LCC committee are going to be on this revitalization committee. My understanding is they're not. Some of those people have removed themselves from the others. Last week. There's information that you should know, that not everybody who lives in here is a good person. And I'm going to say, and some of them have been employees. Some of them have observed child pornography on Harbor-owned computers. But you don't know that, do you?
We do.
Some of you don't know that we've had prior employees who have stolen merchandise from you, this organization. We do not discuss that in public because we protect those people's identities. But
Crime.
it's the law. Until it shows up in the Freelance Star, we protect people's identities. And finally, what I want to say is, this is a good group of people up here. We don't see eye to eye on every issue. Generally speaking, there is respect for one another most of the time. Occasionally, people's enthusiasm gets out of hand. But that doesn't mean that we don't work together as a board. And it doesn't mean for a minute that we aren't doing what's in the best interest of this community with every decision that we have to consider. Now, here's one last thing I'm going to tell you. What you don't know is how much time all of this that has been stirred up and created has taken employees away from their ability to do their jobs and has taken time away from this board to do our job while we're busy putting out fires of rumors and information from people who put flyers on mailboxes and don't sign so that somebody can give you a call and say, well, what are you talking about? I'm not afraid to tell any of you what my feelings are. I don't think there's anybody up here on the board of directors who's afraid to tell you how we feel on any particular topic. But to crucify people, that frankly is out of line. And you all, if you have children, you wouldn't want your children behaving like this. So finally, this might be the 4th finally. I am personally offended by a lot of the things that has been going on in this community. And I hope everybody will stand down, become civil, treat one another with respect, and not try to find a demon in every shadow. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me in the back?
Yes.
Good to
Yes.
go? All right. So this is a night of first. This is the first evening that I agree with everything Phyllis has said. Thank you. It's my intention tonight to do my part to rebuild the trust with the community. As a board, I feel we have not acted with the best interest of the whole membership in mind. I will not get into finger pointing, outing offenders, or voting consensus against anyone. Rather, I want to take my responsibility for my part in disappointing this community with decisions, whether I raise my hand in an affirmative vote or not, like removing the the manager's position from the stables, doubling the administrative fee with no explanation, cutting employee benefits when the budget was balanced, interfering with the chief's community policing programs, and disrupting trash service. Some of these motions I voted for and some I didn't, but they were mostly all poor decisions or poorly informed decisions. We all at this table, and Bob Stevens is on the phone, bear the responsibility for those decisions we made. Tonight I introduce two motions and one resolution that I believe will help rebuild the community's confidence in this board. Two of them I believe will be easily passed. A board log motion that will require anyone to fill out a log that visits the general manager, and the one about harbor pause, which would rescind the past motion that we had for the dogs. The other one will be with the HPD and requiring a quorum referendum for any changes to the police department. Last week a lot of board members made public pledges at the work session. I don't think it'd take a lot of persuasion. I don't think it'd be a lot of discussion. Some parts are a little controversial. But I think honestly, once you distill it all down, it's in the best interest of the community and the board as a whole. So, thank you very much.
The only thing that really hit home here is when Mike Becker said that he was really enthused about Ken's letter that he sent you. I did see it. I do read the Facebook. I read all the emails. I said to my wife, Chip has hit this on the head. I want to put on there that I agree with him 100%. And you know what she said? Mike, it won't do any good. That'll just make him look bad, and then they won't believe him. I have been attacked since before the votes were taken, and I think everybody's aware of that. And I had proof in these papers that Mike Shepard did not say, let's get rid of the chief. So if any of y'all would like to see that, I would be more than happy to let y'all see the proof that some people have been spreading the rumors. And they are rumors. I have never said I want to fire the chief. So I want to rest with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie?
Communications. Again, that is what I brought up at the work session. And Catherine and I have been talking about it. Catherine has posted out on Facebook and the website asking for volunteers to join the communications committee. I have heard a lot of great ideas, people talking about, oh, we need to do communications. I encourage you to contact the office and get onto that committee. We need a lot of different viewpoints, different kinds of people that will come onto this committee and bring their ideas. You don't have to be a communications expert or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. You have a mind, you have a voice, I want to hear it, okay? Because I'll be the board liaison for it, and I really do encourage you to do this. I also wanted to dispel some of the rumors that are out there that everyone points at. It says all directors. I am a commuter. I commute 4 days out of 5. I loved having that back gate open, but I also looked at it as a want versus a need, okay? It was something that I absolutely loved, and and I even stood back there and allowed people to come in and told people, no, I'm sorry, you can't, okay? But when it was told to us that this is an emergency gate, it is not something that should be used for what it is that we were doing. I loved it again, but You know, it was told to us, though, that's not what this is supposed to be for. So we had to close it down. Again, it wasn't something that I liked, but that's what we were told we had to do. And this wasn't from the general manager, it wasn't from, it's VDOT, okay? We went out and we sought out that answer because we wanted to make sure that we're doing something correctly. We didn't want to just do it, okay? We didn't want to say, oh, screw this, we can't do it, all right? We went out there, we investigated, we researched it, found out, oh, you can't. So we left it closed. Second thing is, I am a dog owner. I have 2 dogs. I would hate it, okay, if my dog ever got out. Yes, I love the idea of the police being able to come in and swoop them up and take them into the station, everything like that. But we have to be realistic about it at times too. We have to think about this. Is it actually something that they need to, that they should be doing? Again, is it a want or a need? Okay, we have to think, sometimes we have to think about those things. A want or a need. We may not be happy with what our decision, not board, but like our personal decisions are as to what is a want or a need, okay? I am not a politician. I am not one that will call everybody and find out, what's your vote? What do you want to vote on? How do you want to do this? I come up here, I give a motion. If everybody likes it, yay. If they don't like it, okay. I might go back and revamp it and come back again. Hey, how do you like this one? So I'm not one of these people that's going to sit there and go around and figure out, well, what is your idea? You know, what do you want to do? This kind of thing. So again, you know, these rumors, I hope that this communications committee will help put together the way in which we can communicate in a much better way. I know we need it. That was one of the things that I talked about a lot when I was running for the board. The sound system, all that kind of stuff. So I'm on both the IT committee and the communications committee, and I really do want to get those things up and going. But when there's things like this that happen, it takes the time away from all of that, because I am a full-time employee in DC, and so I can't keep putting out these fires, getting all these emails and having to respond, which I love to do. I'm not saying don't stop sending me emails or phone calls or anything like that. But when something like this happens, it takes that time away from being able to get this committee started, to get with Catherine to get more ideas for that website, you know, and stuff like that. So again, I still encourage you to contact me. I hope that I respond at least saying, hey, yes, I hear your concerns, okay? Or I'll call you back if you've left me a voicemail message. I still encourage you to do that, but please understand that we are trying to do our best. It's not going to happen overnight. It is something that we're going to have to keep on working at, okay? Thank you.
I wanted to talk one thing here too. Is it Paula Philo?
Yeah.
Yes. I think maybe you misunderstood my comment at the last work session, because I was the only one talking about playgrounds with the $24,000. That's not a shock to me, $24,000. I've been working with Chip, and we're looking at putting $100,000 into these playgrounds. So $24,000 is not a
No, I
surprise
wasn't
to me.
speaking about you directly, but per the director calling directions at the beginning, we're not allowed to specifically call out
Okay, well,
directors, so.
that's fine.
I know it's your initiative and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do I'm not just looking at one, I'm gonna do a comprehensive study of all. I've been going around talking to ladies that I see out there with the children, asking them what they'd like to have. And surprisingly, most of them want the old-fashioned seesaws.
Yes.
And some of them want merry-go-rounds, which so I'm in tune with what they're saying. And
What
we're
about the
looking-
whale?
I knew Stiffy was gonna be.
What about the whale? was broken.
Yes,
Huh?
where is it?
It's back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for Wales.
Yeah, we originally put a Corvette spring under it, and it was too soft, it went all the way to the ground.
Oh, we
And we had to
have
go get a
sticky
truck
foam.
spring and put it on the thing. And actually took it down to Fredericksburg and had that thing powder coated. So it was not an inexpensive proposition.
Did we get a new catalog? I know our catalog was like 14 years old.
I've got one coming, I'm hoping to have it, it should be at my house by tomorrow.
And is the community gonna get to select the equipment?
I'm planning, like I said, I'm gonna do a comprehensive study. I wanna hear from, well, parks and waterways as to what they're gonna suggest, and hopefully we'll get a committee and get the community involved with some, what you all want.
Like a
But
selection.
the one thing that I looked at was for down at Lions Park, and we've had people come up and say, please don't put anything down in Lions Park. It's gonna encourage more trespassing coming over there to use our
I understand that, but we're not liable for trespassers. So I think for our community, it's the biggest pavilion, the most parking, the closest for location, and it's.
So you'll be on that committee, right?
100%.
Okay, my turn. A lot of this has already been said, so please bear with me a little bit here. I agree that communications of late have not been the best they should have been. I posted that post on the website because I was gone. When I got back on Saturday or Sunday, I had all these emails about replacing the police with security, and I felt like I had to get something posted out there. The reason I said it was from one director, because I didn't want to be a pompous ass and say, this is your president speaking for you. I've subsequently talked to every director, and they were fine with what I stated, except for the one opinion about the dogs. Everything I stated was just facts. Facts of what was going on. So, I mean, I do apologize for doing it the way I did it, but I did it because I didn't want to act like an ass and say, well, this is me telling the board what's going on. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest with you. Up until the last meeting, we never got any of this, oh, you guys are dishonest, you guys are breaking the bylaws, you guys are doing a terrible job. I believe this board's been doing a very good job. And then all of a sudden, 3 issues come up about the police, and all of a sudden we're the worst people in the world. It really is bothering me that we've accomplished quite a bit in the last 6 months. And now one issue comes up, and it's purely rumor. It's absolute rumor. And all of a sudden, we're 7 terrible people that you cannot trust, and we don't do this and we don't do that. Yes, our fault that we didn't communicate, and we will get better at that. But we have been doing a good job, and I don't like Barb, I resent this, oh, we can't trust you to break the rules, because we're not. And I will ask, there's a couple people that says we broke the bylaws. That's my job to make sure we do the bylaws right. So I would like to get from you in writing what I did wrong, when it happened, and what happened. I will say to you, there was this conversation about the stables manager. The stables manager was not fired by the board. The stables manager was fired by the general manager. He had numerous complaints about his performance. I can't go into it, it's a personnel issue. But then the board decided that they were not going to fill the position, and there technically is a stables manager. It's guy talks like Ray Martin. And he's doing a great job. The fact of the matter is, I'm on the stables committee, and 2 meetings ago, they did not come to a majority to come back to the board and ask for a stables manager because they were so happy with what's going on down there. So they're very pleased that we made that decision. And we did it the right way. I don't care what anybody says, we did it the right way. This board did not fire anybody. The general manager did it, and then we sat down and said, do we really want to fill this position? Or do we want to try something different? And the consensus was to try something different. The back gate. The back gate was closed because of complaints from residents and non-residents. The residents were complaining that there's nobody back there and the back gate is wide open. And, rightfully so. We're paying $800,000 plus for security, and our back gate is wide open with nobody back there. People on Decatur Road are complaining, what are all these cars doing on our road? We had one person on Decatur complain that somebody from Aquia Harbor, I don't know how they know this, knocked down their mailbox and kept going. So what we did, and I still think it was the right thing to do, is we said, okay, close the back gate until we can figure out what's going on. So we closed the back gate, we contacted VDOT to find out what we had to do, which is what we're working on now, and the general manager will get into it, is to make that, if the community approved, make that like a gated, a swing arm type of thing. I think it's not gonna be cheap, you're not gonna like to see the price tag, and it's not gonna be fast. They told us 6 months for approval. I don't believe it's gonna be less than a year for them to tell us that we can do that. So we'll just have to see how it goes. So, you know, all I would ask you to is if you really see something on Facebook or some of these other sites and you really don't believe it, and residents have called and said, okay, what's the real story here? Just call and ask. We'll do a better job of getting the answers out there. But in my mind, up until the last board meeting, we were doing a good job. Facebook started, it's all innuendo, it's all live. Know who's putting it out there. And the fact of the matter is now we're a bunch of schmilniks. And it's really not fair. Thank you, that's all I have to say. All right, resolution of action items. Oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen. Where are we? Minutes, sorry. I'm way ahead of myself. Any changes to the minutes of the last board meeting? Get a motion to accept the minutes of the last board meeting? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, committee reports. Any committee reports tonight? No? Treasury report.
Sir, as of April 30th, Quiy Harbor POA had on deposit in all of its bank accounts a grand total of $4.4 million. The PNC operating account has $1.9 million. The money market account, it has $570,000. The PNC payroll account has $40,000. The Merrill Lynch reserve operating account has $630,000. And the Merrill Lynch restricted reserve has $1.2 million in it. There are a total this month, for the month of April, there are a total of 346 delinquent accounts. That totals $515,000 in unpaid dues. That's an increase of 58 more people who have gone into, shall we say, not writing their check. And it's an increase of $73,000 from the previous month. This includes the following breakdown of delinquent accounts. For those who are between 1 and 90 days late, we have 67 people, and to the tune of $150,000. Those who are 91 to 180 days late, this is our biggest number, 171 people, and the amount is $60,000. We have 12 accounts that are between 181 and 270 days late. That's to the tune of $40,000. And those who are more than 270 days late, we have 96 accounts. You ready? $270,000. Okay. Now, as of also as of April, we have a payment plan summary. There are a total of 40 active payment plans in place, totaling $91,000. What we received last month in payments from those people who have payment plans was $12,000. This time period, 3 new payment plans were signed, totaling $5,500. 2 payment plans were defaulted on, totaling $4,400. We currently have, with our attorney, following our bylaws and our procedures, we have 8 current attorney filings to try to collect on those delinquent accounts. We have 19 in-house collection accounts. And a little bit of good news, this month regarding the recycling rebate income, we hit a new high, $1,602 in rebate income, and that brings the available balance from your hard work to $23,310.
There's the playground.
That concludes the treasurer's report.
This $513,000, does that include the $91,000 on hand?
No.
That's not included in the hand? So you're talking $600,000 for capacity? General manager report.
I'll try to speak loudly, but if you can't hear me, throw up a hand and I'll try to jack it up a little bit. The business office, talking about communication, it seems like every week I change and tell you a different story and when I think we're going to be through. But the last submission to the county on the easement dedication, they found, I think it was 4 or 5 discrepancies, sent it back to us. We're going to resubmit that tomorrow. And hopefully, if they approve that, then we ought to be able to get the final occupancy permit. When we do that, they're presently holding $48,000 in bonds, so they will refund that money to us. Basically, the building is functional. We do have a few problems in it. We didn't have some lights in the right place, didn't have a few electrical outlets, but overall, it's working very well, and we're very pleased with the building. The dredging consultation, we do have a contract with GKY. They have now completed all of the documentation required to be submitted to the various government agencies, and we signed off on that last week, so that should be in process at this time. I know I previously told you that that had been submitted, and that's what I thought they had told me, but it was submitted last week. That can take from 3 to 6 months to get approved.